Hey there, YouTube family. Dr. K here, back for another video on my channel, Winning in Education. Welcome back if you've been here before, or welcome to this channel where we talk all things winning. So, are you back into the school flow and classroom management is starting to get right into your brain? Today we're going to stick on that topic of classroom management and how to incorporate self-care as we are engaging in some of these stressful classroom management situations. Okay, so we're educators, we're all educators. I am also back in K-12, so classroom management is at the forefront of my mind, and it can be stressful. So the question is, how do I engage in successful classroom management strategies and maintain my commitment to self-care? I have 3 tips for you. And they're nothing that you probably haven't heard before, but I want you to think about them actively and see if you can get them done. Okay, so classroom management, we know we have to do it. It's the bane of our existence as educators. We have to get it done. But what do you do in the midst of these classroom management situations to cultivate your self-care, to enhance, to maintain that self-care? Number 1 tip, I want you to stay calm. I know it sounds easier said than done. I know it. But we're actively trying to stay in our self-care zone. So you have to try to remain calm. Watch your breathing. Watch your levels of blood pressure. Make sure you're not going up to level 10 right away, right? Don't let students take you up to level 10. Try to remain calm. I know this sounds easy. But if you stay calm and try to keep yourself in that neutral zone as much as possible, we know things are sometimes going to get out of hand, but this is a way for you to avoid stress and avoid burnout. Remember, we talked about burnout in that last video. So, number 1 tip, you want to remain calm, watch your breathing, try to keep that blood pressure down, and don't let students take you to level 10. Okay, number 2. I think this was my favorite when I was in the classroom, and something I would coach new teachers when I was a new teacher coach to do. Learn how to engage in non-verbal cues when you are building your classroom management system. So things like eye contact and gestures and body language, things that you can do without having to talk all the time, right? Because we know sometimes when you say things over and over, you start to get a little heated and that pressure in you starts to build, the anxiety starts to build. So I remember way back when my students would constantly, I was teaching 3rd or 4th grade, and my students would constantly, it seems like constantly to me, but maybe not, raise their hand to go to the bathroom. And then we would have to engage in, I need to go to the bathroom. I'm in the middle of reading and I'm telling them they can't go. You got too much drama, right? So I developed a bathroom management nonverbal cue. So my students would put a thumb up. That meant they had to go to the bathroom. We didn't have to discuss it. If I put a thumb up, that meant they could go. If I did a thumb down, that meant they could not go and they would have to wait. End of discussion. So it took my 3rd graders a while because, 3rd graders are babies. It took them a while to kind of get into the habit of not challenging me, but I really have to, we already made a decision. I had them kind of get with me on the mat there and say, we're all going to agree with this. Thumbs up means you can go, no question. Thumbs down means you can't go right now, but give me a second and I'll get back to you. So think about some nonverbal cues that you can develop so you don't have to constantly be talking to students. Sit down, don't put your book up, don't go that, try to get that out the way as much as possible, depending on your grade level and the level of your students, right? So nonverbal cues, eye contact, gestures, body language, these are all ways for you to be more connected to your self-care, right? Because you are watching your stress. This is going to help you reduce your stress because now you don't have to constantly, for the 1000th time, say, no, you can't go to the bathroom. No, you can't get water. No, you can't go to the nurse. You will not have to say that. You will have cues, and your students, you have to train them just like we train them. And I'm thinking elementary, but just like we train them when we're training them to do learning centers and how to move and maneuver around the classroom and how to manipulate things when they're in these centers. But even up into high school kids are very combative. They always want to know why. So you have to train them on why you're doing it. This is how it's going to run. But then the caveat is for these nonverbal cues, for something like bathroom, you have to get back to the student. You can't just leave them hanging. It helps you maintain focus. So think about yourself if you're teaching a lesson, if you're in small group instruction or one-on-one instruction, and you're constantly having to stop and stop and stop and stop because of stuff going on around you. This will help you maintain your focus. And then I think the one thing I really love about this nonverbal cues as part of our classroom management system and our system of maintaining self-care, it helps you preserve energy. Because it is tiring saying, no, you can't go. No, you can't do it. No, not now. Give me a minute. So if you can get to some of these nonverbal cues and get your kids trained as much as possible, your energy will not dissipate after each of these encounters. So that's number 2. Number 1 was staying calm. Number 2 is be crafty and start thinking about some nonverbal cues you can institute in your classroom, whether it's kindergarten up to 12th grade, it doesn't matter. You've got to tell them what it is, you've got to teach them to do it, you got to practice, and then you've got to be consistent. I think that will help you maintain your self-care regimen because you will be looking after your stress, and it will help you to be in a more joyous state. Okay. So my last one this is a little interesting. So I was thinking about this today as I was developing this video. And we know classroom management, it can go from something easy to something level 10. So let's say we're at maybe an 8 above classroom management system, right? We need to know when to escalate to your admin team. So I can already hear the principals out there. I'm a principal. I hear it. We do not want all of your classroom management issues coming across our desk, right? Not every single one. But the ones that need to be escalated to your admin team should be escalated. And why? Number 1, you're thinking about the student, right? This is something, you could spend 55,000 hours trying to see if you can fix it, or you can send this off to the admin and put it in their hands. That's great, right? But also this video is about classroom management system that is positive and one that still allows you to stay in that zone of self-care. So if you are in a situation where this student is at an 8 above and you're like, okay, I am not the teacher who constantly sends every little thing to my principal or AP, this one needs to be escalated, escalate it. This is how you maintain your boundaries. We talked about this in another self-care video with your administrative team, right? You are a professional, and if you even have to explain this to your AP, I am not the type of teacher that sends you all of my classroom management. I have a system. I handle all of my things. But when I feel like something is getting to an 8 or 9 or a 10 and it feels like it needs to be escalated, I am going to escalate it. You are not going to suffer in silence and try to be Superman or Superwoman and stay up and be trying to do all of these things. And now you become the social worker and the nurse and the counselor and you're making appointments. You're not doing all of that. So being part of this self-care regimen that you are trying to develop, some of that is you're going to have to give it up when you know it needs to escalate. That's going to be hard. This is going to be hard for a lot of teachers out there who really pride themselves on, I like to do it myself and I can, okay. It's going to be hard for a lot of principals, right, when you start escalating. But I would venture to say, if you are not that teacher that's constantly sending kids to the office for whatever, something trivial. Let's just say trivial. You're not constantly sending kids constantly. Whose class is that? It's coming from Miss A's class. It's coming from Miss A's class. If they never see your students and then they get a student from Miss A's class, they're going to know it's serious. So this is the boy who cries wolf, right? Don't do it unless it needs to be done. But when you need to escalate, when you know that I've reached my level, I am stepping out of my zone of self-care, my stress level is going to go off the chain, I've done A, B, and C, and I still can't make any headway with this student, escalate. Okay, so that's it. This is a very short video. This video is trying to teach us to stay zen, stay in the zen zone of self-care, even when we have to engage in classroom management strategies and activities with our students. Number one, stay calm. I know that's hard. Number two, these nonverbal clues you need to be working with your students. Try to figure it out. Make up something. Build in maybe one or two that you use. You know, you kind of start right off the bat. We're going to try these out, see how it works. Don't give up. Don't start out with 15,000 nonverbal cues and think they're going to get them all. One or two, see if it works, and you start adding it, right? And then that last one I think is the most important. Know when to escalate. Do not play Superman or Superwoman. Don't feel bad about it. That's what the admin's jobs are for. I am currently an admin. Remember, admins get paid more than teachers. Our job duties are a little different from yours, right? So you should not feel bad. And if you are getting pushback from your administrators, then you have to be strong enough to have this conversation. And the conversation is, I do not send a lot of students to you. When I send students to you, I want you to take it seriously. I'm a professional. I'm going to do everything I can for my students. I'm going to go the extra mile, but when I have hit my wall, I'm going to escalate to you for your expertise. And I would love for you to support me. And then talk about part of something I'm doing this year is really looking out for my self-care so that I can be a better educator, right? Be a better family partner for my husband, for my children. And I want to stay in education. I do not want to burn out. Part of me not burning out is to know that I need to really dive into this self-care zone. And that's what I'm doing this year. I hope you can support me. All right, guys, so I would love to know what you think about this video. Give it a thumbs up. Please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. I have a lot of people looking, and I look at my analytics, and you guys have not subscribed even after you've seen several videos. So I know you kind of like the videos because you keep coming back. Push the subscribe button right now. Like the video, share this video with your friends, and comment. And I will see you guys next week. Take care.